Oh shit! What the fuck is going on? Oh shit, it's a wild retard. Wait, it's worse. It's Ubisoft. What are they gonna hit us with? Censorship? Virtue signal? Disrespectful to other cultures? Or legal action? Wait, all four? That's against the rules.
Chain, red bone mains, chain swing, like pretty things. Kick a bitch, call me Luke Kane. Dumb bitch, give me dumb brain, y'all. Wrist wet, wet like rain.
So now Ubisoft is going after people and they're calling criticism and harassment. And I find that quite fucking funny. Excuse me? So what now? If I say I don't like your video game, that's considered personal harassment? Oh yeah, people didn't like Assassin's Creed Shadow, so yeah, let's go around and just censor everyone. Because we're afraid of the backlash that this game could create. Let's first break down the definition of what harassment actually means, because Ubisoft clearly doesn't know. Okay, so harassment is basically when you're directly bullying and going after someone, like getting in their DMs just to tell them to end themselves, or doxing them, or even stalking them. That's the definition of harassment. But apparently she's saying, hey, yo, this game is just bad. I don't like it. That's considered harassment now. And once again, Ubisoft dropped the ball again. Well, excuse me, that's not harassment. That's literally called constructive criticism. Welcome to the internet, buddy. Let me show you a real example of harassment. Someone goes into a dev's DMs and threatens to kill them or something like that over a game. Now that's harassment. That's something I don't condone. But let's not pretend that criticism is just a personal attack. Honest, I don't know if people do this, which sometimes is the case. I don't know what kind of unhinged person, at least like a freaking teen, does this. Like, I, it's just like unhinged to people that actually do that. And to be honest, most of the time, devs don't even have the last word in a game. Like, I agree, a lot of devs actually want to make a good game. It's really the higher ups and the investor who really have the last word. 'Cause a lot of the times it's like these investors and people who actually putting the money are chasing these trends. But in other cases, it is the devs. So I'm not saying that this is for every game. I'm just saying some games. No, game studios, some of these game studios used to be really well respected. And these days, it's like studios just want a virtual signal to get those stupid brownie points instead of giving us like an actual good game, you know? But it's not to say that all devs go along with this. Like, for example, let's look at Avowed. Some of the people in that studio didn't agree with that, but they had the last word, so there wasn't much. And then other times, there's times where it's actually the investors. And in Valve's case, it was actually Jeff's fault. So let's give some context. So you guys remember a while ago when Assassin's Creed Shadow got delayed, and they said that they wanted to take the time to make the game more historically accurate. And then I'm just like, wait, what the fuck happened now? Then they come outside and they start offending the people whose culture they base the game on. Let me just give you some of the samples of what they did. So when the game was in development, and this is still the case on this part, they made the Japanese characters look Chinese. But wait, it gets better. When the game was in development, still it wasn't ready. The Japanese version of the game, the beta, actually had Chinese subtitles in the Japanese version of the game. You know, not only find this crazy how they messed it up, but I actually find it even crazier because they hire a quote quote professional in this, and they still got those things right. Wouldn't you think they'll correct it before they actually launch anything? Also, there's this thing where you're not allowed to steal, but you can steal from the emperor, which is something the emperor's tomb, which is actually considered really disrespectful. Me personally, I don't think that's that deep for me, at least. But if I were Japanese, I would definitely be raising some serious eyebrows. Like, knowing even little about Japanese culture that I know, I can see when I put myself in their mindset, I can see how that could come off as offensive. Think about it like this. Think about it, there's a game and you can just slap freaking George Washington, or you can get in bed with Eleanor Roosevelt. Yeah, kind of weird, right? Like, that's when it crosses the line, but I'm not going to forget that previous Assassin's Creed games were historically inaccurate and it was about rewriting the history. but it was in a party type of way. It was more like in a conspiracy type of way. But it's totally different when they're actually claiming that they want to make more historically accurate games. That's where people start having a problem. Yeah, let's make a game historically accurate and let's turn around and disrespect Japanese. Yeah, that's not gonna fly, buddy. Great. And I thought freaking Logan Paul and Johnny Somali made it bad enough for us. Now Ubisoft, sheesh. This makes America look so freaking bad. Like it's actually embarrassing. And have like Americans vandalizing with graffiti and other tourists in Japan. Like there's just vandalizing random shit. And it got so bad to the point that Japan's prime minister have to address this. I'm aware that this was already happening before the game actually come out, even though the minister is trying to blame it on the game, but I could see how the game could encourage that more. And a lot of the reason I feel like people go to Japan and do this is because I feel like Japanese are too polite to actually, point them out. And let's be honest, these streamers don't really try that shit in Saudi Arabia. If they did, I really want to see what happens. See, let's describe how I would describe this. So Japan is a PvE zone, and people are treating it like it's a PvP zone. In other words, Japanese people are too polite. And now they actually decided to clap back. So once again, Ubisoft shot themselves in the foot. So they're calling criticism and harassment. And it's not because it's actually harassment. It's because they don't want to tell Japan that they're wrong like, about their own culture. Tell me how that's not racist. In what universe? And that game kind of comes out like a bunch of racist white people who don't want black people in games. Or in Japan, I meant. And I believe it's because let they can't tell a non-white person that they're wrong about their culture. Like they don't want to say that directly, so they pull this bullshit. Because it goes against their retarded ideology. So this virtual sickness are literally freaking out. This is unbelievable. Now they can't tell a non-white person they're wrong about their own culture. Yeah, no shit, it's their culture. They're gonna speak out about it. It's like a bug or an exploit in their own ideology system that they literally can't patch. I feel like that's how they feel right now. Like this whole thing feels so fishy. It makes me feel like they want to tell Japan that they're wrong, but they can't go ahead and say that they're bigots and blah blah blah. The shit that usually Ubisoft says, because if they do, they're gonna look really bad. And even though that they're not directly saying it by turning criticism into harassment, that's pretty much what they're doing, and everyone could see through that bullshit. Like, this whole thing feels so fishy. It makes me feel like they wanna tell Japan that they're wrong, but they can't go ahead and say that they're bigots and blah, 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 the shit that usually Ubisoft says, because if they do, they're gonna look really bad. And even though that they're not directly saying it by turning criticism into harassment, that's pretty much what they're doing, and everyone could see through that bullshit. Let's talk about the non-binary characters. Like, I am actually married to a non-binary person, and every time a game studio puts one of these people in the game, they make them look so freaking cringy. And trust me, as a bisexual person, marrying a non-binary person is actually every bisexual's dreams, but they always make it so socially awkward and freaking weird. I've had a chat with some of the Ubisoft employees. A lot of them just not agree with the decisions, but also they're actually embarrassed of saying that they work for that company, to the point that they should straight up not tell everyone, and their job has even advised them to not tell people on their social medias that they actually work for Ubisoft. So you're putting your employees in really like dangerous decisions just because you want to make a bad game. Why? For these employees being embarrassed to say that they work for Ubisoft, I don't even blame them, honestly. Like, imagine you do that, people blame you, and then everyone hates you when it's not even your freaking fault. What? They just work there. It's not their fault. Okay, here's the part that really made me cracked up. So Ubisoft is actually sending lawyers after people that quote quote harass them, and harassment for them is pretty much criticizing their game. They're not sending threats to people, not for harassing their devs, not sending hate mail, just saying, yo, your game looks bad and your game is bad. Okay, so who's doing the harassment now? Uh, Only that, they're literally clowning another culture. If not, I feel like they're getting bullied by them. So Ubisoft is out here now, like literally suing people because their feelings got hurt because people didn't like their game. Okay, listen to this, how pathetic this sound. You're suing someone because someone over the internet said your game was mid. You can't sue someone for a good review. It's not too far in fight. You know what this reminds me of? What was it, Tom Cruise or John Travolta that was in the Church of Scientology, and they tried to sue Forsham because Forsham posted that video of a meme of him in the Church of Scientology, and they were memeing on him. That it's basically what they're trying to do. At the end of the day, this is just straight up sad. Trying to silence someone just over quote quote harassment. And to be honest, it's not going to stop the community, especially the gaming community tends to be really vocal about it. If you put a threat like that, they're just gonna double down, to be honest. If a game sucks, people will tell you your game sucks. Throwing a lawsuit on it just makes you look weak. I don't know. Perhaps maybe it's a freaking marketing strategy. If it is, that'll be like the dumbest idea, but I could see how some people will fall for that. Cause then they're gonna wanna even play the game even more to talk shit about it. If you tell someone not to do something, they're gonna wanna do it even more. I'm just here to watch it all. I just wanna see them burn everything down, which they're doing a pretty good job starting this year, I'll say. So down in the comments, just tell me how you feel about the game. Have you played Assassin's Creed Shadows? How you feel about it? Am I wrong? Am I right? Anyway, you know what to do. And until next time, and remember to always keep it stupid simple.
Like a light, ayy, like a light, ayy, like a light, ayy, slept through the flight, ayy, not for the night, ayy, 767, man, this shit got double bedroom, man, I still got scores to settle, man, I crept down the block.